I don't know. Like I was looking at this jacket earlier, and I was like, yo, why this the jacket, man? So I was like, yo, this look like an exact copy of that fit. And the first thing I want to talk about in relations to copies, before I get into this other topic that I know y'all see on the thumbnail, we have a date for the Clone Rumble. Because the other day when we looked at the trailer, I didn't know when it was happening, but apparently it's, oh wait, it was in the trailer on March 7th. Well, it's, oh wait, no, it's not tomorrow. It's next week, Monday, I'm thinking. Oh, no. Yeah, it is this week, Friday. So yeah, Clone Rumble comes out this week, Friday, just to let y'all know. That's the first thing I wanted to start off with. Second thing I wanted to start off with. Now here on this page, I don't get political too often because I really don't give a fuck, but this relates to and affects gamers. So I'm gonna mention it and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. You know that orange Cheeto motherfucker that got in office? Yeah, the one that all the people who are getting deported voted for? Yeah. Well, I don't want to say all, but a good majority of them voted for, yeah. Those of y'all who are part of that movement, who voted for this orange Cheeto, you didn't like paying exorbitant amounts of money for anything that wasn't a Gooner game before? Oh, everything's about to cost the same as a Gooner game. Because trade wars have started with America. And I don't know if y'all know how history works, but remember how the first Great Depression started? No, you probably don't, because your dumbass wasn't paying attention in school. Part of why it started was because of tariffs. Another part of it was the stock market. Yeah, that's the part that they teach, but another part of it was tariffs. Now I want to see what this analyst said. After weeks of threats, Trump has now imposed a 25% tariff on goods that have been imported from Mexico and Canada, and which, by the way, includes electricity. So, because of a tariff, that have been imported from Mexico and Canada. In addition, Trump has added a further 10% on goods from China on top of the previously announced 10%. So that nigga just stacking. So 30 on 30 on 30 on 30, but instead of 30, it's 10 on 10 on 10 on 10. What the fuck did the analyst say? Oh, Matt Priscilla. In response to Nico Partners analyst, noting that 20% impacts consoles and the 25% will affect physical game manufacture. So if you like buying games physically, it's about to be more expensive. And again, let me remind y'all what I said. Just because, like, every time I talk about how much it's gonna cost to buy a game physically, some random dumbass likes to hop out the woodworks. Well, I buy games digitally, so that doesn't affect you. Whatever the game costs to buy physically, it will cost the same digitally. So if it costs $70 to buy the disc, it will cost $70 to buy it on PSN on Xbox Store. If it costs $100 to buy it on disc, it will cost $100 to buy it in the game on console in the game, like digitally. I don't know why people don't seem to understand that, but one thing I've had to spend my whole life learning is that some people are like just want to be fucking idiots, and some people just don't have understanding. Why is my music not starting up? If you can't find the song, then skip it. Some people just don't want to have sense. Can't force everybody to have common sense. I'm not even asking for intelligence. I'm just asking for basic sense. Anyway, Big Bro noted that a very small piece of all this, but it wouldn't surprise me to see the physical games that would be subject to tariffs simply not get made. Yeah, we're already seeing that now, where a lot of games are just saying, fuck it, release it digitally. Why release a physical version? Like, for example, Black Myth Wukong was one of the biggest games of last year. I still don't think there's a physical release. Let's look it up. Physical. Let's try date. Physical edition release date is 12th. Okay, it came out in December of 2024, right? Game came out in August. So for 3 months, if you wanted to buy and play Wukong, oh, I just realized my camera's a little bit off. For 3 months, if you wanted to buy and play Wukong, the only option was to buy it digitally. Now, that might seem crazy for right now, while it's still a newer phenomenon that you're not seeing too much of, but it's gonna start getting worse. Like, I can understand for an indie game like Hades on a platform like Nintendo Switch having an extended period of time for it to never be physically released because it was an indie game. But this is a AAA game from a studio that really has money to pay for stuff like that. They just up and said, you know what, fuck it, we don't care about releasing a physical version. That's scary. As somebody who cares about the preservation and history of games, that's scary. But you know, I pick games digitally, this doesn't affect me. With publishers moving to an all-digital strategy, what a mess. While most big games are still released physically, numerous titles, in particular lower budget or indie titles, are released exclusively digitally. That's a fact. Just said that. Earlier this year, Avowed was released as a digital-only product. This is a top-of-the-line, first-party game that we're talking about. Avowed isn't some indie game off the side of the road made by one dev in a basement. Microsoft brought the studio that made Avowed specifically for them to make games, and they're not even printing a physical version of this game. Game preservation, like right now, enjoy the fact that games preservation is so fucking easy. Enjoy those emulators. Enjoy those ROMs. Because it only gets harder to get access to all that stuff from here. Because think about it. Besides Nintendo, there are no cartridges. And then even if there are cartridges, there's day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 patches. There's fucking DLC. There's updates. Not even patches, like updates adding whole new features. You download the 1.0 of a game that's been out for 4 or 5 years, constantly getting updates. If it's even playable, it's like you're like, oh my god, they added so many features, I can't even play this. Then let's not even don't even get me started on how it's quite literally impossible to preserve a live service game. Earlier this year, the box contained a code for a digital version of the game rather than the disc. I said a long time ago that this was gonna start getting more common because it's cheaper to do that than actually put a disc in a fucking box. Video games are one of the most popular and beloved forms of entertainment for Americans of all ages, which I don't know if y'all are realizing this. Whenever something becomes popular, a lot of people who see dollar signs join in and say, oh, I don't give a fuck about making video games, making a great game. I don't give a shit about making video games. But this is $1 billion industry. What's your cash app? I want to stake in your company. What's your cash app? There's gonna be a lot of people that's trying to invest their dollars in it because it makes money. Like, as a business person, if something is making a certain amount of money, even if you don't like it, even if you hate it with all your might, you're still gonna be like, I like making money and this makes money, so here's a couple dollars. Give me a piece of your company. Tariffs on video game devices. So if you want to buy a new console or a new controller, or you want to buy another what's the name of them controllers? The ones that you flick in the air, whatever they're called, the VR PlayStation controllers. If you want to buy another one to stick up your ass and say, wow, look at me, I'm such a PlayStation fan that I'm letting a PlayStation hit it from the back, yeah, there's gonna be a tariff on that too, big dog. Negatively impact tariffs on video game devices and related products would negatively impact hundreds of millions of Americans and would harm the industry's significant contributions to the U.S. economy. We look forward to working with the administration and Congress to find ways to sustain the economic growth supported by our sector. What's the translation to that? I got you. Let me give you the breakdown. Let me give you the rundown. Let me give you the beat down. It's expensive as fuck for somebody to buy a game. It's expensive. We are not in previous generations where most people who are playing video games are gaming enthusiasts. Now, there's a lot of, as Kendrick would say, visitors in the culture. There's a lot of people in the gaming culture right now where we gotta look at them, arms crossed, and just start saying because they're just not like us. Like, we're enthusiasts. We're people who enjoy, and I'm not even saying it to be a snob. It's one of those things of you are what you are. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people that like to go, I don't see race. But if you were born white, when you go look at your birth certificate, it's going to say race, white. You're black. When you look at your birth certificate, you're gonna see that you're the same color as the ink on the page. But still, some things are just facts, no matter what the situation, no matter what the scenario is. And the fact of the matter is, like I said, there's most people who play video games play it for the social aspect. They don't play video games because they want to have a power fantasy of being Batman. They don't want to play video games because they want to be entrenched in an immersive experience. They don't play video games because they want to be challenged on their mechanical skill in a video game. They don't play video games because they want to test their might against the masses. They play it to talk to their friends and have something to talk to their friends over. Game preservationists have long argued that a move to a digital-only future will cause games to be lost forever if proper preservation measures aren't put in place. Yeah, and to keep it short, because I could go real deep into this and I have before, game preservation is 10 times harder with digital games because some of what I said earlier when it comes to patches and updates, and sometimes the game gets updated to the point to where the OG version of the game and the future version of the game are two different things. But it's just generally hard as fuck to digitally preserve a game because let's say a game is locked to console. You have to figure out a way to break through the encryption of your console to download that game to like a server, a backup drive, a disc, whatever you may have it, whatever you may be, or so that you can try and decrypt those games files and put them in an emulator, or do something like with that Sonic Unleashed joint that came out recently where Sonic Unleashed was locked to like the Xbox 360 and somebody recompiled the game and made it so that if you have the disc you could ROM dump the disc basically and recompile it and play a PC version of the game that has updated what you call it. My mind is drawing a blank on the term, but like the graphics are updated, the way it works. Like even stuff I seen where if you transform into Sonic and you're playing it with a DualSense on PC, the recompiled version, it'll change different colors and stuff like that. Like the amount of effort shit like that takes is more than a lot of companies want to pay for, and the legality of just hoping one nigga in his basement is dedicated enough to do that shit isn't really guaranteed. So there's a lot of games starting from like 2006 and up with that Xbox arcade era that's just gonna be lost to time forever, versus like shitty games from, even if they were shitty games, because shitty games help build the path of mistakes of what not to do when making a great game. So like shitty games that could be lessons, or shitty games that were terrible but had one great mechanic in it that nobody else thought of, and that somebody who was capable of putting together a studio that could make a good game could take out of there and put in there, that's just lost to time. It's lost to time. And then you can watch my video that's in the iCard at the end of this. But like, yo, there's a lot of ways that digital only futures can go wrong because it's hard as hell to preserve those, bro. It's hard as hell. There are already scores of online-only titles that can no longer be played, either due to their delisting or service being shut down. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. In some cases, game discs serve only as physical entitlement keys to be able to play the digital version of the game. Yeah, that's true. Now it's so bad that sometimes when you get a disc in the box, it's on some Call of Duty shit where the disc is basically saying, yes, he brought it. No, he didn't buy it. Meaning, if the digital store itself shuts down in the future, the disc will become useless. Yeah. Or even like when, I forgot what it was called, but like there was a Metal Gear collection that had all 5 of the Metal Gear Solid games in it, from 1 all the way to like 5, just like updated versions with like remastered visuals and stuff like that. And they only had the first game on the disc. Or even with the Nintendo Switch, where they had that Mega Man game where they included like Mega Man 1 and 2 or some version of Mega Man 1 and 2, and they only had one of the Mega Man games on the cartridge, and it was like, yo, this Mega Man game is less than a gigabyte. You could fit like 10 Mega Man games on the cartridge and still pick any one of those games randomly and copy it 10 times and still have more than half the storage on the fucking cartridge just empty. What the fuck is going on? So it's like, yo, game preservation, like always, is under attack because of greed. It always toes back to greed. One thing that doesn't toe back to greed is how, and I mean, one second, yo. Open it up and show that I actually have the game and not just the case for show. Okay? So, unlike your favorite content creators, I don't talk about games in terms of factual statements for games I never touch, right? So as someone who actually played Avengers 2020, the game wasn't that goddamn bad. If they literally remake that game and take all the live service elements out of the game, oh wait, the clapping didn't go off. It will be a 10 out of 10 game. I stand on that hill and I will die on that hill. I will pass away and my grave will be nowhere. Cause my corpse is just gonna be on the top of that hill forever. Alright, I will die on that hill. Avengers 2020 could have been a 10 out of 10 game had it not been live service. If they were to take that exact same game, just make it so that it follows like the Avengers movie story, put in some cool gameplay mechanics, make the characters in the game look like the actors, make Iron Man look like Robert Downey, make Spider-Man look like Thomas. I'm not saying it would be game of the year, but it would definitely be a banger. I miss movie tie-in games. I really do. Because a lot of movie tie-in games were sloppy bullshit because a lot of them were pushed out just to have something alongside the movie to nickel and dime people and get as much money out of people as possible. But every once in a while, you got stuff like a Spider-Man 2, which to this day is uncontested and one of the most rewarding and in-depth Spider-Man swinging systems. Now, I think that Insomniac Spider-Man 2 has the best Spider-Man swinging style for if you're a casual like video game player. But if you are more of a gaming enthusiast or more hardcore gamer, I'm pretty sure you like Spider-Man's 2 swinging system better, because that shit is just, once you learn how to actually use it and learn how to web swing, oh my god, that game is just so fucking free. And like no Spider-Man game has even came close to how freeing it is. Insomniac Spider-Man did good in making the web swinging casual, but in terms of having full control of everything you're doing, PS2 Spider-Man 2, nothing has topped it in terms of being a good Spider-Man game. But this is a game with other characters in it. And the Russo brothers said that, quote, we would definitely be open to it. Said Russo when asked if his studio, AGBO, would be open to a game based on Avengers or Amazon's. What the fuck is, don't nobody give a fuck about Citadel. What the fuck is that? Right now, what we're doing is creating new IP. Nigga, no you're not. Unless he's talking about it at his studio. At AGBO, we want to tell new story. Oh, yeah, at his studio. Because I thought he was talking about Marvel. I was about to say, nigga, no you're not. You're slightly altering already existing stories based on fucked up deadlines. No, you're not. We want to tell new stories with new characters and new worlds that people haven't seen before. What happened to that? Yo, gaming studios. Y'all really gonna let a nigga that makes movies outshine y'all like that? Where is y'all saying pride, gaming studios? Where is your saying pride? This nigga's a movie maker with better game ideas than y'all, bro. Make some new games, make some new stories. We're tired of seeing part 99 of goddamn Call of Duty. We don't want to see another remaster of fucking The Last of Us. Don't get me wrong, The Last of Us 1 and The Last of Us 2 are some of the greatest games of all time in all existence. But my nigga, if we get another goddamn The Last of Us video game, I might just walk up to Neil Druckmann and wring him by the neck and hang him over a balcony until he understands. We don't need another remaster. Make a new fucking IP. And he's doing that with Intergalactic. And the shit better be good. Because if not, you know what's coming next. The Last of Us 2 remastered. The Last of Us 2 remastered. The Last of Us 2 remastered HD remaster port PS7 edition. Not even 6, 7 edition. Remember, y'all, The Last of Us 1 came out in 2013 at the tail end of the PS3. Okay? That's a PS3 game. But never forget that. This nigga stretched a PS3 game out across 3 consoles, and you niggas brought it all 3 times. Anthony, we want to tell new stories and new worlds. And so Anthony and I and Donald are working together to build out new worlds. And we have 3 that we're currently working on. That the intention is for every new world we build to have a scale and depth of a Star Wars universe. Oh Lord. So all 3 of these worlds are going to be crossovers. So if you ever see an AGBO game and then you see another one, expect their stories to be united or like intertwined in some way, but in a different genre. Then we'll build materials around those new worlds. We'll tell stories in different ways using different media in those worlds. Meaning that one game could be a game inside of another game, or in the comic books, they could reference to stuff in the games, or maybe TV shows. You know, he's basically saying we're trying to build a media empire starting with video games, which actually makes a surprising amount of sense, because when it comes to video games, they're the biggest form of entertainment, the most money-making form of entertainment in the world right now currently. And like 30% of that is just Fortnite by itself. When asked about how the Russo brothers would continue to build out the gaming business at AGBO, especially with the upcoming release of whatever the fuck Citadel is, we have a new partner at the company who is one of the greatest game developers in history, Donald Muster. He's a creator of Fortnite, and he's coming now to work with us on building what we think the future of storytelling could be. The thing about that, and my soundboard doesn't want to work for some reason. The thing about that, the red flag I see in that statement, I'm gonna look up his name and see what else he made. But I don't know about you, but when it comes to stories and games, I put Fortnite in the same category as like a Elden Ring in terms of how people know about the story, and that's that they don't. I know multiple people who have over 100 hours in Elden Ring that can't tell me what the story of Elden Ring is. So, and same thing with Fortnite. I know a bunch of people with hundreds of hours in Fortnite can't tell me what the story of Fortnite is. Where's his wiki? I'm gonna see what games he worked on. Oh, it does work. Whatever. Leave it. Career. References. No. Donald Mustard. Game. I want to see what games you worked on. Okay, so we're gonna do it like this. Gonna take the name Donald Mustard. We're gonna put in Perplexity Perplexity.ai. Please tell me what games work on. Okay, so he worked on Advent Rising, never heard of that. Undertow, never heard of that. Shadow Complex, never heard of that. Infinity Blade Trilogy, never heard of that. Fortnite, and these 2 games are announced games that aren't done. Never heard of any of these games, so I'm not familiar with any of his work, and quite frankly, I don't even know what this nigga did at Fortnite. Mustard was the co-creator and creative director of Fortnite Battle Royale during his tenure. Yeah, but is he the creator of Fortnite Battle Royale or like Fortnite Save the World? Because even with Save the World, nobody knows what the fuck the story of it is because they haven't played it. Which is some hybrid between virtual and gaming. Jury's still out because all those other previous games they mentioned, never heard of them. He said, and we're really interested in new ways to tell stories using technology. So the three of us together are trying to explore and ideate around what opportunities there could be over the next decade using new tools and new technology to tell stories, and can we make it true transmedia. True transmedia, where the same assets that we're using for CG and movies is also the same assets that are in game. That's ambitious. That's ambitious. Now, I don't know the technical schmechnical stuff behind it, but that's pretty fucking ambitious. That are also the same assets in a virtual experience, and that's the mission of AGBO currently at the moment. Anthony Russo has also spoken, blah, blah, blah. What did these niggas say? We also call ourselves sort of film and I almost say antagonistic. Sort of film agnostic, which is basically we value all the different forms you can express yourself in linear cinematic storytelling. Same is true with games. Every idea has a different way that it can be best explored and best be brought to audiences or gamers for an experience. Yeah, that's true. And I made a video essay about this a long time ago. This was on my QaptainSlander channel, my OG channel from 2013. But like, whenever you translate any piece of media into a different medium, one thing you always gotta keep in mind is that depending on the medium, it's different to express different things in different ways. And you also gotta keep in mind your different audiences. That's why even with Ready Player One, even though I will never watch that movie because I know it's gonna be a piece of shit compared to the book, I know they did it the way they did it for a reason. Because if they would have made a Ready Player One movie based off the book, it wouldn't have made sales. Because the concept of it sounds like something... Oh my god, all my alarms going off at the same time. Because like the idea of Ready Player One sounds like something that would require a kid's movie to be made around it. People who are basically in a virtual reality video game world participating in a treasure hunt where they're finding and figuring out different clues to try and unlock $1 million prize or however much it was, the fortune of a very rich game developer that died. That sounds like a plot of a kid's movie for some silly goofy fun, but if you read the book, it gets dark. It gets real fucking dark. There's some good stuff in there too, like how he talked about how he went from being basically a fat funky loser to being like a really strong big dude that was big healthy. He went from being a nigga in high school in a book to actually being a grown man getting his own money off of playing a video game, like off of having a virtual job. So it's like, yo, that book gets into some really dark stuff. Like this nigga starts having sex over the internet because he got so lonely chasing his prize and dropping everything in his life to make sure that he could get the best advantage he could in the game. That book gets real dark. Okay, it gets real dark at times. But it's like, yo, for a movie, as much as I would like them to do a movie based on the book, that wouldn't make sense. Because most parents would just see video game VR like I described it and want to bring their kids. And your kids should not be reading the book. If you saw the movie of Ready Player One and you're not an adult, leave that book alone. It's not meant for you to read, nigga. We really tailor every creative idea we're exploring, evolving, and building upon in terms of how we find expression for it. The first game developed by them will be released and based on Netflix's The Electric State, which will be coming later on, blah, blah, blah. The last major title based on the franchise was Crystal Dynamics' Marvel Avengers. I put it back over there. I'm not going to get that. But yeah, again, that game wasn't the worst thing in the fucking world, but it could have been better. And literally, all they would have needed to make that game good was to take out the live service elements. Like that, like, that's it. That's solely all they needed to do. Speaking of something that has the live service elements removed, let's talk about how PS3 got a new surprise update. So, have you been stuck in, what is it, 2006? None of my fucking music wants to load, huh? None of it. Alright. We got through the tech diff. Back to talk about this. Now, have you ever been sitting there seeing all the new latest and greatest games come out and just sit on the side, head in your hands, crying because your PS3 can't run it, your 2006 console can't run it? Well, never fear. And recently, in 2025 of March, the PlayStation 3rd edition just got an update. Maybe this update will make it so that you can run GTA 5 Remastered online, Enhanced Edition. Let's read on. Sony released a surprise new update for the PS3 on March 5th. The latest software update brings the PS3 to version 4.92 with improved system performance. Maybe, and this may be a far reach, maybe what they did is they made it. Wait, hold up 1 second. Oh, fuck it. Yeah, I don't even give a fuck about reading this article. I don't care. I was gonna make jokes, but this shit just taking the joy out of me. Yeah, this I was mostly gonna share. I'm gonna sign up for that, and then it just fucking stopped. God damn it! I'm about to punch a hole in the wall. Hey, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just cutting the shit. Fuck it.